Domestic violence is not a new crime, but the way it's being handled is changing daily.
Tonight on our series, Till Death Do Us Part, Jeanette Trompeter joins us to tell us how law enforcement is changing the way it treats this crime. Jeanette?
You know, the FBI says 1/3 of all homicides involving women center around domestic violence situations. In fact, the FBI says women are safer on the streets than they are at home. It is a very serious crime. Domestic dispute calls make up a significant portion of police calls, especially around the holidays. In the past, officers handled these calls by attempting to separate the husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. That is no longer the case.
The RP is now in the front house at that address with her 2-year-old. The suspect is in a trailer behind that residence.
Domestic dispute calls have long been considered one of the most dangerous for law enforcement officers to respond to.
I think it is because you're walking into a house that you have no idea what's in there, and then you're dealing with usually a married situation, and then you're walking into an argument, and we're going to try to tell them how to solve their marital problems, and usually the guy takes offense to that.
Officer John Allen responds to many of the spousal abuse calls in Arroyo Grande. A few years ago, he was limited on how much he could do.
It was left on the shoulders of the victim to place their husband or boyfriend under arrest. At the time, they're angry, and it was easy to say, yeah, I want the guy to go to jail, and they'd place him under citizen's arrest. But then when the morning came around, they'd feel sorry, and then they would drop charges. And that would happen probably 6 out of 10 times.
With recent legislative crackdowns and policy changes within police departments, cops are no longer allowed to leave it up to the victim.
We find out who the attacker is, and if, in most cases, the husband, and it's a felony now, and we usually make the arrest.
The victim can neither press charges nor drop them. The suspected abuser goes to jail and enters the criminal justice system.
We try to handle these cases without the victim having to get directly involved, because we feel that it's the batterer's behavior that got them both into this situation. Then it should be his responsibility to get him out, and that takes responsibility off of her. And we will prosecute with or without her choice.
First offenders will likely get assigned court-ordered counseling, or perhaps be ordered to take part in a 16-week anger management program called diversion.
If they've already been ordered to diversion 2 or 3 years ago, and we see a lot of that, they're not eligible again. So then they're looking at some type of maybe formal probation, possibly jail time.
The Victim Witness Division of the District Attorney's Office steps in to work with family members.
This is a very traumatic incident, and it's always worse when you're injured by someone that you're in a loving relationship with, that you truly are in love with, and that you thought loved you.
Since the new laws regarding domestic violence went into effect, the number of cases has skyrocketed. In San Luis Obispo County in 1985, there were only 17 cases of spousal abuse sent to the district attorney's office for filing consideration. In 1993, there have been 440 already.
I've been handling domestic violence cases for the District Attorney's Victim Witness Program for 5 years now, and I've seen it increase, and it's gone up probably about 30% for me this year.
Stepped-up enforcement on spousal abuse may mean people like John Allen have to make more arrests than they once did. The experts say more arrests may lead to fewer homicides because, as traumatic as police intervention might be, it can be enough to end the cycle of violence. Now, there are several ways domestic violence can be filed legally. Often, all three are filed. Penal Code Section 273.5 is the most common, which is spousal abuse. PC 242 is assault and battery. And a new law, 649.6, is the new stalking law, which we will talk about much more later this week. All three charges are what's called wobblers, meaning they can be either misdemeanors or felonies, depending on a number of things, such as level of injuries, prior records of the defendant, whether weapons were used, and other circumstances which the district attorney will take into account. And in cases where the battery is extreme, the defendant will face charges like attempted murder, manslaughter, and even homicide. Now, last night we got a lot of calls after we aired our first piece on Dolores Wingy, a survivor of domestic violence. We want to make sure that anyone who needs help or support to get out of an abusive relationship knows how to do it. We're putting up a list of numbers on the screen that you can call. Find the location nearest you or call your local police department and ask for help. These numbers are for the victims. They are intended to help you get help and get it safely and privately. And though 95% of domestic abuse victims are said to be women, we want to point out that men can be victims too. And the numbers on your screen can help you find the appropriate assistance. And then tomorrow on Till Death Do Us Part, we'll look at the impact of children who live in families that are abusive.
Must be dramatic
Some
on
silent
children.
victims,
Okay,
yes.
thanks, Jeanette.
All right. A gun